So Bezat Hashem said that the Shmai, we're continuing in Ilchot, preparation for Suda. We're in the element of Siman Kuf Nun Chet, about washing, preparing your hands, again purifying your hands. We're on page Mem Zayin, Seif Katan Chaf. In Mishnah Berurah is going to explain what's the element, or what's the purpose while you're washing, and if it's not important, why are you washing Bechlal, and if it's important, why are you washing without a blessing. So all those elements we'll discuss right now, hopefully, because it's a little bit longer over here. Bezat Hashem, today is the 13th of the month of Shvat, Tuesday, the third day of the week of Parashat Shabbat. Shabbat is Yitro. Today is already Yitro. I'm already so much involved in the draw. I think you're already in the next parasha. Mishpatim. It's behind me already.
Jonathan is on the way.
Okay, very good. All right, let's go, gentlemen. Below bracha. So that's the element. Why do we, if washing is important, so why would you wash without a bracha? And if it's not important, why wash? Okay, you hear the question? Very good. Below bracha. כי יש מקצת הראשונים דסבירה שלא יצריכו חכמים נטילת ידיים לדבר שטיבולו במשקה אלא במיהם שהיו אוכלים בטהרה. Okay, why is like this? What's happening here? The Shulchan Aruch tells us you are eating something that you're going to dip into liquid. You're eating apple that you're going to dip into honey, which we said in order to do that you might touch honey, and the honey is soft enough, the honey of the bees is much softer, I guess, than the honey of the tamarim, which is considered to be food. Honey of bees is considered to be liquid. It's done for, no, you don't know the famous tea, Arizona, they put honey there, right? Which honey? Obviously it's going to be done by honey bees.
Yeah,
because I don't think tamarim,
in the green tea, Arizona.
Yeah, I don't think fig honey is going to be helping much.
Fig?
I think the fig honey is a little bit thicker, maybe.
No, fig honey is good for digestion.
Forget about digestion. So the question is what people do. If it's liquid, that's the question. If it's more liquidy, so he's telling you specifically, has to be bee honey. So I'm dipping an apple into the honey. The apple, I'm not worried about because the apple is dry, obviously. So I didn't wash my hands. Netilah, when we're saying netilah, you have to talk about literally 6 times like you would do from the coming out of the restroom. Like you do before mincha, like you do before arvit, right? Before praying. This is the tahara of the hands. So now you're taking an apple which was sliced and you're going to dip it into honey. Or you took a honey, apple may be more hygienic because it's liquidy, right? When you slice it, it's liquidy. When you're touching it, forget about the honey. You're taking, what's his name? A cherry. Cherry, you're dipping it to honey. For whatever reason. Make an imagination. So imagine whatever you want. So Shulchan Aruch says, over there, you should, what's his name? If you're not touching the liquid, you should still wash. And over there, the example was brought that maybe you will touch the liquid. Okay? So the question is that if you're not touching the liquid, why do I have to wash? Why do you have to wash? Because we're afraid that you wash that. So if I already have to wash, why don't I make a bracha? That's where we stuck it, right? So Mishnah Berurah explains like this. In reality, when the Chachamim established us that when we're going to be dealing with fruits, and we're going to be the fruits that are coming in contact with liquid, that you must wash your hands, it was only if you're coming with contact with fruit, a product that you're going to eat, that it's coming to be liquid. But if you're taking and dipping something into the liquid, the Chachamim did not go that far to tell you that you must. What's his name? And the only time that the Chachamim said that the washing should occur was in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, when they were doeg on tahara, when they were very much worried about tahara. But since today we're not worried about it, now that there comes an element to dipping, we don't worry. As long as you're not coming in contact with the liquid, don't worry about it. So that's in those days. These days we're all to mitim already. For the past 2,000 years, after the Churban Habayit, right? We already, after the Churban, really, if you take a look in the Gemara, it looks like even after the Churban Habayit, there were still some tzaddikim, they had still this notion of tahara. The people were still meticulous, but you never know, the Mishnah will be rebuilt. But again, Mishorabu Galuyot, V'yitrabu atzarot, right? There was so many malchamot, so much travesty that was done to the nation. We don't have any more the element of purity. It's gone, and we're all tmei mitim anyway. We're because again, we don't. Well, the Torah doesn't forbid me to shake somebody's hands, and everybody is already. Most of us are even born in the hospitals with morgues, so we're all already tmei mitim.
Every hospital.
Not true. I'm sure there is some clinics that people give birth.
No, clinics.
There is clinics for birth, and I'm promoting it. I don't want people to give birth in the hospitals anymore. Should be a strictly Jewish Orthodox clinic where it's chas v'shalom. If there's a big emergency, they should be able to.
Still, they have a morgue because if
no, but the problem is, I know. I went
because
once.
God forbid there is.
I went once. You know that
there is a.
I went once to
women
Agudat
that die
Yisrael.
when they deliver.
I went to Agudat Yisrael. Okay, what happened was, again, if there's no met there, she's not gonna be. Obviously, there's no morgue in the clinic. Okay, it's not. Pay attention a little bit. I went to Agudat Yisrael, to the chief of Agudat Yisrael. This was right after the so-called whatever, I don't want to say the P word, right? In 2020, the 2020, they shut down all the hospitals. Nobody's coming out to visit anybody, right? So I said, I don't understand you. The halacha is the travesty that was happening, and unfortunately, people who were in charge will give an accounting for it. How did they allow, for instance, Hatzalah took Jews to hospitals known for murdering people? Hatzalah took people knowing that this hospital is murdering people. No questions asked. Everybody knows. The rumors that spread, people were starved to death by 3 days, nobody feeding them. My Rabbi Akadosh, Rabbi Abraham Naftali Alav Shalom, was Hashem Ikom Damo. Hashem should take revenge on him. He was murdered in the hospital. 3 days in the hospital, he was starved to death.
Yeah.
Chacham Noach Dir.
Starved to death?
Of course.
How would they been starved? Did they take care of them?
No. The people would not. What?
Nobody dies in 3 days.
If you are 80 plus and you have
Habibi was an older
disease
person.
and sickness,
3 days they didn't feed him. Yes, people died. Okay,
you die.
There's no diseases, no sicknesses. He couldn't handle the starvation. What do you want? 3 days. Yeah. Again, one of my friends also. On the third day, he wrote a note to his children. His children came to my martyrs. They were all arrested for trespassing. They were trying to break in to feed their father. He called them somehow. He got a phone to them. They were disconnecting phone calls. They were not allowed to make phone calls. You're not allowed to have contact with your family. Not even phone calls. This Rashaim. Okay? And my friends tell me that I don't remember his name, Rab Chaim. I was negotiating for use a jewelry man, right, to buy something for my wife in that time before I went to the hospital. Right? So we were negotiating. And they tell me he starved to death in the hospital. The sons were arrested for disorderly conduct or whatever it is. They were trying to break into the hospital, and they broke in and they were got arrested because the father and there were people leaving notes, and when they're dead, the Chaver Kadisha came. They're written on their hands. I'm dying from starvation.
Wow.
Okay, Chaver Kadisha knows it. Hatzalah knew it. Everybody knew it there. And I have a question: why they still took Jews to Maimonides? Why they did all this? But whatever, who knows what. So I came to the, because I'm a person of talking too much. I went to Aguda, the person in charge of Aguda. I said, listen, mister, we should, and I called billionaires. I said, we should open clinics just for the Jews. And there is no such a thing as no visiting. It's against halakha. The Torah says clearly, you cannot trust a goy with a Jew for a second. Here you're putting a Jew in the Goyish hands, abandoning Jews in Goyish hands. How dare you? For sure they'll be murdered, as they were. As they were murdered into 2020, many Jews were murdered. So I told them, you know what you should do? We should open these clinics quickly. We have plenty of the Jews, plenty of doctors. We don't need government regulations. Nobody's going to tell us what to do. And if anything, we're going to put, I know people, if you're ready, let me know. We'll get some guys, if you pay them money, they'll stand with machine guns outside of the clinics, so no government regulator could come in and tell us what to do. He tells me, you think so? The government is going to come, state troopers are going to shut you down anyway. See, that's how much rich, and the problem, and he said it like, don't worry about it. Okay, this is what we had. That's what we are. The Jews, we have no choice. Let them murder us. That's the way that I felt from this conversation. Anyway, So today says Chafetz Chaim, we're all to be mitim. We're all to be mitim. So how did we start? As I said, we should open our clinics. And no woman, literally, not me, Rabbi Abno Nitzchak is also saying it. There are other Rabbanim Chachamim who are saying it. Stop giving birth in the hospitals. They're literally.
Why would they want to kill people? The longer a person stays in the hospital,
I tell you why.
making money.
No, that's true. That is correct. But let me tell you. Let's say one bed, like me, I made my hospital $1.2 million. I know that's how much they got paid. My insurance paid them $350,000. The government subsidized my being there every day, like $20,000 a day. Something like that. So the hospital made $1.2 million on me, literally just on me. Pronounced me dead 5 times. Okay, now this is me laying down there for 67 days. Okay, me 67 days. While in that one bed, the governor, the Congress signed the stupid law in America, and I think all the congressmen that were there that voted for it should be put against the wall and shot and murdered, executed for their crime against humanity. They paid and they said, we will pay hospitals if you pronounce a death via COVID $39,000 per person. So one bed, what I was laying, could literally make them a day. Like a person comes in, dies, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's how it is going. A day could make them $100,000. Why they need me? And actually, they were fighting. They were. When is this guy gonna die already? Believe you me, I heard many things I'm not supposed to hear. Okay, they pronounced me dead 5 times. This is Rashayim. And how many people with stories like mine? How many people? Unfortunately, very little survived. Anyway, so Chachamim say don't give birth in the hospitals today. There's many pluses not to give birth. Not like you're gonna. I'm not saying that you're gonna bypass this issue. We're all tameh. The mother who's giving birth to the baby is tameh. The person who's delivering the baby for sure is tameh, right? That's not the question. But at least the element of health. We are commanded to preserve our health and to make sure that we always stay healthy. By the way, the first thing they do in the hospital when you birth, what do you think they do to you? The first thing. You know, a lot of children don't like breast milk. You know why? A lot of children don't like breast milk. You know why? The first thing they do is, that's the law of the land. You must put sugar in the baby's mouth. This is Rashayim. Immediately they kill the taste bud of the baby.
Not in Florida.
Oh, hell not. Okay, that's why at least in New York, that's for sure. Okay, they right away, that's what you think. They're going to tell you everything. And they give other shots also.
I've been there like a few times, like we think, like not in Florida.
What, you saw the baby's motion from the room that the mother gave birth till the room that they put him?
How the baby get birth, they give it like to the mom.
And that's it.
That's it.
They don't take the baby away for tests.
No.
They clean it in the room, they wash him, they wrap him.
On the minute, like with the mom. Automatically.
And when she falls asleep, the baby stays there, and all that with the mother.
If the mom won't take the baby to be with her, he can.
And if not,
they're taking him like to.
That's right. Thank you very much. Okay, that's the problem.
So
that's the problem.
Keep
But the mommy, like
That's the problem. The mother falls asleep. The father, who was there for 24 hours before birth, now he's tired. He's going to home, took a shower. For a second, you can't leave your child with a goy. That's the halakha. Ben ish chai mifurash. You're not allowed to leave a child with a goy for a second. So we're giving all the children in the hospitals, and even in Israel, you think all the nurses are not Arabs? Okay.
What you doing today with all the nannies
Clinics.
from Africa?
That's right. Thank you. That's right. It's all asur. Thank you. Next. So now, because the Chachamim said we're all to be mitim, the only takana really was that when you're going to eat something that really becomes wet, like an apple or something, there you have to wash hands. But if you take a cookie and you dip it in liquid, Chachamim said today's day and age you really don't have to. So that's the answer. Why do I have to wash? Really, in the olden days, we still have to wash. We already said why we're washing today. We're all anyway Tmemitim, so that when the Beit HaMikdash, and you have to trust in Hashem, the Beit HaMikdash will be rebuilt any second. So if the Beit HaMikdash is going to be rebuilt any second, what is the barometer? How do you check if you're that person? How do you check if you're that person that constantly thinks about the Beit HaMikdash? It depends how you wash your hands. If you wash your hands meticulously, you're showing to Hashem without even talking about it much. Just by washing your hands constantly in appropriate places, you show Hashem you want Beit HaMikdash. What else? What's the other reason? You hear what's going on here? That's what's happening here. Since over here, the Chachamim did not establish the washing is required when the things that you're going to be eating that are dipped into the liquids. There, at the time of the Beit HaMikdash only, and not after, So now, because of the preparation for Beit HaMikdash, you wash, but it's not a bracha, because it's not really, really obligatory. But again, you're training yourself for Kabbalat Mashiach and Binyan Beit HaMikdash soon. Shesafek brachot le'akel. There's many machlokot about that. Since you're dipping a cookie, give him the sefer, please. He wants to be mitaher einayim. He wants to see inside. He wants to become holy. The looking into the book makes us holy. By the way, gentlemen, because unfortunately we have too much garbage that we see outside. Hopefully, by just looking, we are purified. So continue in the middle of Mishnah Berurah, after Sif Katan Chav on page Mem Zayin. והנה במגן אברהם הביא בשם הלחם המבודד, והעולם נוהגים שלא ליטול יש להם על מה שיסמוכו. Yeah. Magen Avraham says there are people who dipping cookies into the milk, they don't wash. And yesh lahem al ma sheyismochu. Don't scream at them. Meaning, basically, this is not a ticket. I'm very much against that. Giving musar to people, screaming at people, what you're doing. It's not, do me a favor. First, they see, make sure that he has a family. That, you know the famous thing about a person. A person is davening. So after prayer, the guy Moshe approaches David. David, yes. I couldn't help notice, says Moshe to David, I couldn't help notice that you were sitting today by Varech. By Varech David is a minhag. It's a minhag, not halacha. It's a minhag to stand up, right? By Varech David. So he says, David, I see you didn't get up today. Is everything okay? So David turns around to Moshe and says, Moshe, I don't understand you. We're davening for 10 years together. You have never asked, you don't know if I'm married yet. You didn't ask me about if I have children, if I have food last night, or if I have food today in the morning after davening. This you didn't ask me. To ask me why didn't I get up in the middle of Varech David, this you asked me. You know what's going on here? This is the generation, we all worried about the next person's problems. Problems, to worry about, not problem. You should worry about other people's problems. Not that he's not holiness. Worry about his physical first, before you go to holiness. Yes, we should worry about the holiness, but after you clearly took care of the physical first. Okay, so he says over here, Magen Abraham, you see people don't say anything. Yesh lהם משמע שיסמוכו. They were going to rely, מקצת הראשונים, הנזכר לעיל. This is what the Rishonim hold. The Rishonim say the establishment of washing hands before eating something wet, any fruit that's wet, only relies that if you're eating something wet. And in reference to anything that you're dipping into the fruit, that was not established. That was only established at the time of the Beit HaMikdash, not after. אבל הרבה האחרונים החמירו מאוד בדבר וכתבו, העיקר קרוב הפוסקים דצריך לנטילה מדין האב בזמן הזה. However, so why does Shulchan Aruch tells us to wash? Why does he tell us to wash? Shulchan Aruch said, if you're going to dip a cookie or something that into the mashke, into the liquid, there you should wash, right? So even though your hand's not going to touch the liquid, but maybe you will. So why did it? Because there are a lot of achronim, says Mishnah Berurah, that require washing. There are a lot of achronim that require washing. Therefore, we wash. But we don't say bracha because of safek brachot. Vayen bebiur nigra shigam dato ken. Oh, who is one of the biggest giants to say to wash when you're going to dip the cookie into the milk? The Gra Mevina. Who could be bigger than that? Gaon Mevilna tells you to wash. You wash. Ve'achmir me'od bazeh. He was very strict about it. Shab tzarich levarech al zeh. He held, if you're going to dip the cookie into the milk, you go wash your hands and make a bracha. That's how far Gaon Mevilna held. We don't, because of safek brachot. V'lachen af de ha'olam en nohen levarech. Even though today we are not making a bracha. Al kol panim en lehakel lechol bli netilah. However, you should be meticulous when you're about to eat an item that you're going to dip into liquids, the 7 liquids that we discussed. Okay, and then you should literally wash your hands. V'tzarich lazeh kol dinei netilah kemo lefat. Oh, I was telling you to, like you're going out of the bathroom for mincha. No. And what kind of washing it is? Like you would wash for the bread. How will you wash for the bread? Not 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Rather, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All the rules, says Mishnah Berurah, should be followed the same way. Yes.
Is that what Gaon of Vilna said? To wash your hands once or two once, and then say bracha for the cookie in the middle.
That's the Mishnah Berurah explained. He said to say bracha on the yadayim for the bread.
For the bread.
No, like you would say with bread on the yadayim.
On a cookie.
On the cookie with milk. Yeah.
We don't do it today because
Again, there's many poskim that say when you wash your hands for davening, you should make a bracha. We learned that already, if you remember, for mincha.
But we don't do that today.
Okay, but that's not a surprise. You should not be surprised if you're going to be to wash. Yes, there is an element of washing your hands every time you wash your hands. There is poskim that hold like that, yes. Because you're doing a mitzvah. Why are you washing your hands? If you're doing a mitzvah, make a bracha, asher kiddushanu. No, Baruch Hashem, we don't because we already have too much. There's so many machlokot and the whole zach, and we're Sephardim very meticulous about this. It's called bracha levatala, safek bracha levatala, safek brachot leakel. We don't go into the issue because brachot and makwod. Really, bracha does not make the mitzvah. The mitzvah is a mitzvah. The blessing is an additional element of praising God Almighty, of bringing the Zohar teaches, right? Bringing the abundance. My prayer, my blessing brings the abundance to the on high, and from the upper realms, the world gets blessed. That's the blessing element. But me doing an element, doing the act is also part of it. But obviously, it has a different little connotations. But okay, but it still has that same kind of result, right? When you wash your hands, it brings the blessing up, but it's the different levels. Don't ask me these things. I'm not baki. אוקיי, על כל פנים אין להקל לאכול בלי לטרוד, אוקיי? ומכל מקום, בפחות מכזית נראה לי שאין להחמיר בזה כלל. Now he's saying like this. What about if you're eating less than 26 or 28 grams of the fruit? A cookie. What is a cookie? 5 grams. So you took a cookie, and you know what? You have this crazy craving. You know, some people have it.
Rabbi, cookies always want at least 10.
By you, Baruch Hashem, you come where you come from.
Rabbi, if you open Oreos and you leave it on the table,
bli anara, we see the results. Habibi, Americans are like a stick. This guy is not eating more than a cookie, and he's just doing it because
Americans are the majority obese. What are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about American, the skinny guys.
Maybe in Europe, I don't.
Huh?
Here in the U.S.
Oh, you're right. Maybe Europeans. Let's go to Europeans.
European delicate. He eat one cookie.
Yeah,
you know those.
The French restaurants.
They have free refills.
The French restaurant. You walk in and it says €75 for a dish. Okay, you say €75 for a dish. Wow, it's nice, right?
They give you a cell phone.
They give you something smaller than the cell phone right here.
Yeah.
Eat that for €75. I'm like, what? Okay. ומכל מקום, בפחות מכזית נראה לי שאין להחמיר בזה כלל. However, if you're eating less than kazait, if it's less than 26, 28 grams of food that you're going to be consuming now, dipping into something, the Chacham says you don't have to wash your hands up a little. ואפילו בפת הרבה אחרונים מכלים וכנזכר להם במשנה ברורה. It's already discussed, just like reference to bread. So if you're eating a little cherry, right, the cherry topping, the children eating cakes and they give you the cherry topping. You know those cherry tops that they put? You want to eat the cherry. You
no
want to
kids
feel
will give up that cherry.
Don't worry. You know how to talk to the kids. They'll give up everything. Okay, anyway. So they give you that cherry. You want to taste the cherry, right? Okay. You don't know how to talk to kids? Today is the wallet. You don't know the wallet talk? What do you need?
No, you pay $5 for one cherry. They give it to you.
That's right. You're desperate. And you want to give a child anyway a reward sometimes. They're doing good things, Baruch Hashem. Therefore, still, the Berurah says, the Kaf HaChaim said, we're going back to Rema. ואפילו אין המטבל רק ראש הירק או הפרי. So we have to understand, Mr. Berurah really meant that you really dip the whole cookie inside, or the fruit. Says Rama, no, it's even more machmir than the whole cookie. Sounds like when Raman says, the whole thing you're going to dip without touching the, what's his name? Says Rama, even if you're going to dip a little tip of the fruit, of the product that you're about to consume into any of those liquids, you still wash your hands, says Rama. Why? Because we're afraid. Says Rama, you're gonna, what's his name? You're gonna dip it all anyway, because you know how it is, right? The cookie didn't get the milk in every part of it. Baruch Hashem. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. Rav Zohar, Bechavot, start. Hey, Shulchan Aruch. We have time still, yeah?
No, we have 2 minutes.
Okay, so we read Halacha. 3 minutes in my lunch. הנוטל ידיו לפירות, yeah?
הרי זה מגסי הרוח.
גסי הרוח.
Oh, so he says like this. Listen to what, this is a little bit going to be a lot of things discussing here. He says, the Shulchan Aruch says, anybody who washes his hands for fruits, Hareze migase ruach. This is like a haughty person. What is going on here? I thought that's what we're talking about here right now, right? Let's see Rama, how he explains this. Davka.
אגב, ודווקא שנוטלן בתורת חיוב. אבל אם נוטלן משום נקיות שלא היו
ידיו נקיות מותר. So here there's going to be a big over here more discussion clearly what is going on here. I tell people we discussed right now you're going to be eating apples or fruits or with tomatoes, all those wet, right? Here he says no. Shulchan Aruch says anybody who washes his hands for fruits says Rama if his intention is as if he is obligated. What does that mean? We'll see in Mishnah Berurah. Says, but however, if he's washing it because he wants to make sure his hands are clean, as I have already told you many times, that's what you're supposed to do before you eat anything. You come in, you're supposed to wash your hands. Says that, then it's okay to do. Well, let's see. Ubasar, continue.
ובשר צלי, יש מי שנראה מדבריו אף על פי שמוהל טופח עליו דינו
כפירות. So what about somebody who wants to eat roasted meat? Yeah, some say מדבריו אף על פי שמוהל טופח עליו דינו כפירות. What happens when you roast the steak? It has like a lot of liquid in it, right? That's sweat. The mohar is like the sweat in it. But you're eating it with your hand. So, but you didn't wash your hands until that. So he says, no, it's like the fruit. Well, let's see what that means. Next. ותבשיל.
ותבשיל מחיתים והם נגובים דינו חפרות.
כפירות. מה זה הם נגובים? If you have דייסה, you have...
נגובים, חומוס,
Smearing, that's what nigui means? Dips that are cooked.
Dips, all kind of dips.
So all those things that you're dipping, this is not the seven, they have no seven liquids. They don't have olive oil, not those things. The other, like let's say you made the garlic dip with mayonnaise, right, or something, whatever people make. Those things the rules are just like eating fruits. And Be'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow we will get to elaborate what is going on there. Till to now, I thought we were really discussing that somebody's eating perot, fruits. But we'll see. Mr. Berurah will explain. Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you for coming. Anybody wants to join us here in Midrash HaKadosh, 4601 Thomas Street, David Chai. Have a wonderful day. Everybody, if still needs to make parnasah, go to make parnasah easy without any suffering, with only good health.